Good morning and welcome to Moving for Wellness. Today we are doing chair yoga again. I had some requests for this and I'm really excited about it because chair yoga is, even though you may be a practiced yogi, chair yoga is still one of those things you can practice in the office, you can do possibly even in the car. Of course not while driving, but if you're the passenger or on an airplane. Very simple movements. Again, this will be more like a 25-ish minute video, so I'm still waiting on some feedback to see how this works for you guys. But I think overall, it will be done faster, and I can put more videos more often. So hopefully this is a good solution for everyone. But maybe I'll do a combination of maybe an hour video once a week, and then the others are 20-minute videos. So you let me know what you think, and I appreciate any feedback. Take a deep breath in. Arms overhead. Here we're going to try to peel our body against the seat. Hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale, arms overhead. Hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Inhale again. Arms overhead. Exhale and gently fold yourself forward. The feet are next to the feet of the chair. And we're pulling our body towards the thighs. Here, if you wish, you can interlace your elbows and just let your upper body fold down. You can see that my body is leaving the chair gently because of the shape of this chair. If you have a straight chair, this will probably not happen. So think about that your tailbone is still reaching for the seat. Tucking the chin under, trying to see that your head is very soft. No tension in your neck and shoulders. Hands onto your feet and try to lift up. So remember, the back of your head is pushing against the ceiling, lengthening the spine. The tailbone is still tucking towards the chair, so your belly is still actively drawing your upper body towards your thighs. Inhale, arms overhead, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Here you can see that my feet are gently away from the floor because this chair is a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my yoga blocks in front of my chair and place my feet on it, just to make sure that my feet are nice and grounded and that I can press with my legs into the seat. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward, again, peeling the belly onto my thighs and folding my body forward. Here I can again interlace my elbows the opposite direction, make sure that your head is nice and soft. And you can see because my feet are elevated, now my bottom is actually sitting down. Release, put your hands onto your feet. Lift up, drive the shoulders down and away, using your back muscles to lift the chest out from underneath or from between your thighs. Fold forward one more time. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Place your hands in your thigh, your tailbone towards the floor, and reach with the crown of your head towards the ceiling to fall. Let your shoulders fall away from you. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, take your left hand to the right knee and try to grab the back of your chair with your right hand. And create that little twist. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, come a little further. Inhale. As you exhale, come to the center, tuck the chin under, lengthen the spine, tailbone goes towards the back of the chair. And the crown of your head is reaching towards the ceiling. Take the right hand to the left thigh, grab the chair with your left arm, left hand, and create a twist to the upper body in opposition to your lower body. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale and turn just a tad more. Tailbone continues to reach for the floor. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Place your hands onto your thighs, palms open. Feel both sits bones on the chair. The feet are strong into the floor. Tuck the chin under, dropping the shoulders down and away. Breathe. Inhale. As you exhale, scoot towards the end of your chair. Take the right leg and cross it over to the left. Here we're still focusing on both sits bones on the chair. It's very easy for us to shift the body away. Sit as long as you can. Here, flex and point, and you may take your foot and stretch it long. Point the foot and elongate the foot, so you're stretching your shin. And then allow the foot to stretch in the opposite direction. You may take your hand and stretch the toes out all the way. And then sit up tall, as if you're creating the number 4 here. Sit as tall as you can. Gently press the knee downward. Your belly draws into the spine and your tailbone is reaching for the floor. Here I am again using my block to raise up my foot for an intenser stretch to my glute. So I'm placing this foot onto my block, crossing this leg over, scooting towards the end of the chair for a bigger elevation, both sits bones on the floor, and then hinging forward. Tucking the chin under, deep stretch to this glute right there. We're practicing peeling the body onto the thigh. My flexibility is not very good in this position, but if you can lay all the way down onto that thigh, my body is not ready for this yet, and you can fold all the way forward if you wish. I want to intensify that stretch into this hip. I'm going to hold on to my chair instead, and I'm going to try to pull on my chair to hinge at the hip instead of pulling on my leg. Inhale. Make sure that that foot is nice and soft. You should be able to flex and point at the ankle without having that much pressure onto your thigh that you can't move the ankle. Very gently release and switch sides. You don't have to put your feet on a block. I choose to do that. Sit up as tall as you can. Cross the left leg over the right. Both sits bones on the floor, on your chair. Flex and point in here. You can elongate that foot and stretch the top of the foot out by pointing it. Deep stretch to the top of the foot, it should feel great. And opening up that hip this way. And then flex and stretch the foot in the opposite direction. Deep stretch to the Achilles, should feel wonderful. Flex and point in circle. And then hinging deeply from the hip, not rounding your back. You can also put your hands behind you here. Both sits bones remain on the chair. And then very gently release. Of course, if you have the flexibility, you can place your whole body on this thigh. This thigh is a little bit more willing to do that for me, but I'm still not flexible enough to hold all the way forward. At least not without grounding my back. And very gently release. I'm going to move my blocks away. Here, we're going to grab our strap. One leg is going to stay straight, the other one is going to be bent. Again, we can use the block here if we need to. Sit at the edge of your chair and grab your foot. Take a deep breath in, lengthen the body upward. Extend the leg as if you're trying to push the heel into the floor, and then hinging at the hip, bending forward. Here you can keep grabbing and grabbing, hinging forward for a deep stretch, never locking 100% at the knee. Deep stretch in the calf, deep stretch in the hamstring, and a stretch to the bottom of your foot. Here you may hold it there or here, and you can open up. You may also hold the back of the chair. Deep stretch. Noticing here how my leg just falls in. And then the other side. Grabbing here, and here you can grab the back of your chair again. Opening up. Deep stretch to the hip area. And one more time, switch sides here, and then you can bring your arm up overhead. And then the other side here, and bring your arm up overhead. Let's switch sides. Come on up. Switch feet. Flex and point, and flex and point. Hinging at the hip with a straight back. Hinging forward. And of course, you can fold forward as much as you wish. If you can fold all the way forward, go ahead and do that. So I'm going to show you on this side if you are more flexible, and you can do this without a strap. Peeling forward. And here you can grab your foot or the outside of your foot and open up here, or grab the chair there. I cannot reach quite there. Deep stretch to the back of the leg. Other side, grab the inside of your foot and open up the other way. Deep stretch to that quadratus lumborum. Inhale. As you exhale, bring that arm overhead. Inhale. As you exhale, come down and try the other side. Inhale. As you exhale, arm overhead. This feels wonderful. Inhale. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale, and as you exhale, gently come up. Here again, we can use the strap. You're still sitting at the edge of your chair. You can grab both feet. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to hinge forward, trying to pull your straight back towards the thighs. Deep stretch to the back of the leg, never locking at the knee. And depending on how flexible you are, you may fold all the way forward. Inhale. Exhale and lengthen. Stretch to the bottom of your feet. Maybe you want to point here. As you're pointing and placing the feet down, that intensifies the stretch to the top of the foot, to your shin. And again, of course, if you have your strap there instead, and you can't hinge forward that much, you can just be here, and you will feel all these stretches anyway. And release. Here I'm gonna switch position of the chair so you can see better what I'm doing. We're going to be sideways on the chair. The easiest way to do this is have a seat and slide the right leg behind you. You're still sitting at the edge of your chair. The thigh of the left leg is on the chair and your foot is flat on the chair. It's not a bad idea to have a block here because maybe your leg is hovering instead of being flat on the floor. We want to have the strength of the body into the floor. So if you need to have that block there, feel free to do that. But here, there's little weight on the hind leg, but we want to be sure that that leg is placed right. So you don't want it to fall out, outward or inward. You want to have the full foot. This is great practice for Warrior 1 and all the warrior poses, or your warrior poses will be more in this position. So here you can practice without the legs getting tired to place the weight of your body to the outside perimeter of this foot so that the weight is carried by your glutes and the outside of your thigh rather than the inside of your knee. Sitting forward, take a deep breath in, arms overhead. Here's your crescent pose. So there's no weight on my legs, but I can practice the position of my hip. Inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to hinge forward, placing the weight to the front of the leg, and the hind leg is still digging into the floor. Come on back up, practicing your crescent pose, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. Let's switch sides. So I have my block on the other side as well. Switch over. You don't have to use your block. It's just a practice. And here again, stretching deeply into my hip flexor here. The foot is placing on the ball of the foot, and I'm reaching with my heel towards the floor. So I'm activating the quads. Take a deep breath in, arms overhead. Hinging forward, placing the body weight to the front of the leg, even though most of your weight is on the chair. This is great practice. Coming up, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. One more time, the other side. Switch over. Place the hind leg behind you. Here we're going to practice Warrior 1. So you're placing the outside perimeter of your foot into the floor. This takes a lot of practice, but when you're using a chair, you have the opportunity to open up the hip right without needing the strength of this thigh to hold you in place. Take a deep breath in, arms overhead. This is your Warrior 1. Notice how much strength the hind leg needs to press to the outside perimeter, and how active your legs are even though you're seated on the chair. How that hip digs into the chair, forward, downward. Inhale. You can even practice your Warrior 2 here. Noticing that the shifting of that upper body that you usually may not have the strength for, you can actually practice here. Both legs dig into the floor. Notice what the hip does in response. You may even practice your reverse warrior here. Warrior 2, Warrior 1, and here you could fold forward. Tucking the chin under, practicing that position of that hind leg continuously. Come on to a seated position and switch sides. So the leg comes on to the block or onto the floor. Placing this hind leg to the outside perimeter. This hip is pushing this way. This hip with this leg is pushing this way. Take a deep breath in, Warrior one. Feel that deep stretch and the strength that's required in your thighs, even though you're on a chair. Inhale. As you exhale, warrior two. Inhale. Exhale. Practice that shifting back and forth to see what strength is required in your thighs and in your hip and how it opens up your hip. Inhale, warrior one. And if you wish, exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. And if you wish, you can do that forward bending here. Remember, even though you're forward bending here and your hands are next to your foot, the hind leg is still active. You may gently come to center. That should have felt great. Here we're going to try to come into butterfly. So you're going to put the body to the end of your chair. Slide one leg in. Let's try one leg at a time first. Right here. So just bring it in as close as you can. And just press the leg outward. So the idea is for this foot to come to the inside of the crease between your thigh and your upper body. So here, my leg is obviously not that flexible, but I'm getting closer. Sit up as tall as you can, hinge forward and feel that deep stretch to the thigh. If this is not quite you yet, that's understanding. We're again over here, trying to hinge forward. But try to bring this leg as close to you as you can. Maybe crossing it over just a little bit more, and then hinging forward. Try to keep both sits bones on the floor, on the seat, and then switch sides. As deep as you can to the crease between your thigh and your belly, and hinging forward. And then release. So if you can, maybe both of those feet can now come together. And you can place them on your chair in front of you and sit as tall as you can. It is not quite you yet, just do one leg at a time. And pressing those legs apart for a deep stretch to the inner thigh. Feel how those legs are willing to fall away to the side when the stretch is released. If we're yanking on ligaments, chances are that instead of getting more flexible, we're just making the ligaments harder. So we have no choice but use opposing muscle to pull along the tight muscles. So in this case, we're using your glute muscles and the outer thigh to stretch the inner thigh. And then very gently release. I'm going to step to the side of my chair to mimic a down dog. So here, I'm placing my legs next to the chair, and I'm going to place a little bit of weight into the chair. So lengthening maybe the arms away and trying to press my chest through to my thighs. Maybe you can even rest your forehead on the chair. And just feel that deep stretch to the back of your legs. This should be relaxing. Pay attention to your feet. Pay attention to the line of your knees. So my feet should be hip width apart. When I draw a line between my hip bone and the top of my foot, my knee should be right in the middle of that. If my knee is turned inward or outward on that, then you have to work on the strength of your legs to either create a little bit more of an arch in the inside of your foot, or if you have a really high arch, you might have to use the strength of the inner thigh to bring the foot in a more neutral position. Lengthen the arms up overhead as much as you can. And then very, very gently roll your body up. Maybe come into that little cat stretch. And then come into cow. Come into cat. Inhale, cow. Here you may step the foot forward, the left foot forward, and the right foot back for a deep stretch of the Achilles. And again, that practice of keeping that hip at a neutral, even though my legs are moving. Lengthening up, deep stretch to the calf muscle, deep stretch to the hamstring. Inhale. Exhale, switch. Tuck that chin under, pressing that leg into the floor. Your toes should be nice and gentle. It's the heel that is being pressed down. Lengthen. And here, I'm going to turn that chair one more time. Have a seat. This may be a deep stretch to your inner thigh. So if this is too much of a stretch, obviously sit with the chair in the proper position. Here, we're just trying to use the back of the chair for a brace. Take a deep breath in, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, chin to the chest. And here, all you need is to rest very gently with